Are you a limited company owner frustrated by the lack of government help during COVID? On this video, I look at some of the reasons why HMRC is struggling to help you. So for many small business owners, it's been really frustrating right now. If you're a limited company director and you take your dividends and your salary each month, each quarter, each year, whatever you do, you've not got a lot of support out there for you at the moment. There's the furlough scheme. You could physically stop working and claim furlough. As at the time of the recording this video, you can't do a part-time furlough. You have to just physically stop, and that's a problem. And what we're seeing is people are getting frustrated with that because you have employed people who are getting 80% of their income based on their salary, which in the majority of cases is great. You've got the self-employed, that one's a bit iffy, but in theory, in the right circumstances, you're getting 80% of your wages, and you're also being able to carry on working in that scenario. So that's pretty good. But for limited company owners, unfortunately, it's not great news at the moment because the furlough, whilst you can claim it, is based on their PAYE, their payroll, their salary information. And for most limited company owners who take out their money in a tax efficient way, that means that they've probably only got about $8,500 salary going through. Now you might think, oh, well, that's unfortunate. They've been having a lower tax bill for years and now they're, unfortunately disadvantaged. But it's not as quite a simple story as that. In actual fact, whilst there is a load of savings to be in a limited company, they still pay corporation tax, they still pay dividend tax. It's not like they're avoiding all of these taxes. And the difference in the help available is quite stark, which is why we're seeing campaigns out there at the moment. So I can see it from both ends of the spectrum, but what I have seen from limited company owners is the frustration that there's just not a lot of help out there at all. They just fall through the gaps. There's lots of places in a lot of these support where there are people who just get nothing, and unfortunately this area is one where it's pretty tight on the help available. So what I wanted to do in this video is just show you some of the technical reasons why the revenue are struggling to help you. So let's get straight into it now. If you enjoy these type of videos, make sure to click the subscribe button below now so that you get notified every time we release one. What we can see here is actually what's called an SA 302. This is the form they actually give to lenders when you want a mortgage, and it shows your income. So as you can see at the top here, we've got pay from all employment. So for a lot of directors, this is their pay. This is the bit that they get through the salary. This is the bit that if they were going to claim furlough, the furlough would be based on in the majority of cases. And then you've got underneath it dividends. Now it's dividends from UK companies. That's what it says. And that's the figure. And as you can see at the top there, they've received 25 grand of dividends and their total income's 33,600. So for lending, that's what would be used. If you wanted a mortgage, that's the kind of figures they'd be looking at. Now, what I want to show you here, and let's just presume this is a limited company director who's taken all of his dividends. So what we're going to see now is that on the HMRC form in the box, what HMRC get in box 4 there is a dividend figure of 25 grand. That's it. If we click in, you can see here when we've done the tax return, we've put in that they've got 100 shares and they've received this big dividend during the year. So it's really clear, all that detail's on our system, but when it gets transmitted to Revenue and Customs, they see that one figure in box 4. That's it. So what I'm going to show you now is somebody in a slightly different situation who has various things going on in terms of they've got investments in other companies and they've got multiple business affairs. And this is very modern actually. It happens quite a lot now, especially with sort of entrepreneurial types. They'll have several things on the go, maybe side hustles. So what we see here is the same thing. We've got the pay there and we've got the dividend figure again at 25 grand. But remember, this is a completely different individual in different circumstances. They just happen to have the same income. So if we then dial into the return a bit more, what you'll see is when we go to box 4 of the return, that again, you've got in the box 25 grand of dividends. So Revenue and Customs will have 25 grand of dividends on their print. If we go into the return to see when we've entered this, what actually the breakdown of this was, you can see in here in our little wizard that they've only actually got 5 grand from that limited company. They've got 4 grand from investments. They've got 6 grand from another limited company and another 10 grand from another investment they had, a non-business. They don't trade in, they just invest it. Imagine if you went on the stock exchange, you can see Shell PLC. And again, it looks exactly the same as the other one. So that's the problem. That's the technical problem that they've got, is they don't have the data of what your actual dividends from your trading company are. So if you imagine if you're just a self-employed electrician, for example, your dividends are all probably going to come from there. But that's not always the case. You might have other things going on, and Revenue and Customs just cannot tell from their current data what the breakdown of that is. And that's the unfortunate situation we're in. So there you go. That's a very quick look at some of the technical aspects going. So as you can see, it's possible for two individuals from HMRC's view to look identical and they're completely different situations. And therefore it's very difficult to do. If you look at the speed that Revenue and Customs have managed to get money into people's banks through some of these reliefs, they had to pick something that they had easy data on. And as a result, you can see with this, it would have required a lot more detail from people, and then how do they prevent fraud? There's a lot of things that need to be considered, and you can see why it'd be technically difficult. I spoke to a Japanese journalist the other day, oddly enough, for a newspaper over there, and they were explaining to me that their system's much more complex, and as a result, the money's just not getting to people. And I think that's the interesting balance here: is what's better, some money to a lot of people or the right money to everybody? Like it's a very difficult thing to do. So I'd be interested in your feelings on this in your comments. So drop them in the comments below, and I look forward to reading them and having a chat. Be sure to check out our website at healandassociates.co.uk/COVID-19 for all the current and up-to-date measures that are available to support you as the business through this time. If you found this video useful, please do share it with your networks and anybody else who would find the information useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.